So how do you end a toxic relationship or remove toxic people from your life? First of all, I don't really believe in this whole idea of toxic people. I know it's a really popular thing. I know what is meant by toxic relationship, and I get the idea of creating some distance and space in cases where you're abused and where someone is bringing you down, basically, right? There's negative energy in that relationship. So here's some unusual advice. Don't remove a toxic person from your life. Just be honest about who you are, and they will go away. Okay? So in any case where there is a mismatch in a friendship or relationship of any kind, and that mismatch causes some hard feelings or some negativity or some conflict, or just it's not the relationship you want to have, that's just a sign that it's the wrong fit. You two don't really belong together. And what's keeping you together is that one of you or both of you is not being totally real and genuine. So you're both kind of playing your roles, you're both acting, but occasionally slip, and which leads to arguments and all kinds of blaming and shaming and manipulations and all these terrible things. The reason for this is that from the very beginning, the relationship wasn't based on truth, right? You weren't completely open and honest with each other. You weren't totally accepting unconditional love. You weren't offering unconditional love and total acceptance, and you weren't being totally open and honest. Now, what I've found is that every time, and this is how I've been living for many years now, that I'm completely open and honest with everyone about who I am. Even with clients, even with business partners, with everyone, with friends. And I don't have to ever remove a person from my life, because what ends up happening is that, because I sort of try to live outside the ego. When we're talking about, typically spiritual people talk about toxic people, which kind of, in my book, is kind of questionable for a spiritual person to call someone a name like that, to label a person like this. But that's who typically does this, because what happens is, as we transcend ego, as we align with love, presence, and then we confront people or we meet people in our lives who are very much in the ego, it doesn't mix. It's like oil and water. So ego can't understand love. Love can't understand ego. There's this terrible conflict and just all kinds of bad energy that goes on. But if you can truly be honest about your spirituality or about who you are, whatever your opinions are and your ideas are, whatever you truly are in that relationship, bring that into the relationship. What you're going to find is either it works perfectly or it ends. But you don't have to make that terrible decision to end the relationship. I do not believe in ending relationships. Let the relationship take its course. Just be you. Do what you feel. If you feel like being alone for a week, be alone for a week. If you feel like, whatever space you need, just do that. But there's no reason to define that. Definitions are from the brain, right? So if you just let life flow in a way that's pure and honest and true, it takes care of itself. So for me, I've never had a need to remove a toxic person from my life or to end a relationship. What I find is the opposite, that I'm always open to people, but a person who is kind of dominated by the ego, let's say, or whatever it may be, they aren't drawn to me. I repel them, I guess. So maybe there's not any issue. Maybe the issue is that we're not being always completely transparent about who we are, and so we're getting into relationships and situations that are not really a good fit. I could be wrong. That's my experience.